The president is also calling for more accountability from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu when it comes to delivering humanitarian aid to people in Gaza. Netanyahu claims Israel is allowing significant aid into the territory, but that Hamas is stealing those supplies. Yesterday, he said that there is, quote, no starvation in Gaza. Today, Trump said he disagrees. As the U.S. and other nations donate food and money to Gaza, the president says he wants Netanyahu to make sure that it gets delivered to the Palestinians who need it. Bob Kitchen joins us now. He's the vice president of emergencies at the International Rescue Committee, one of the humanitarian aid organizations on the ground in Gaza, and he oversees those ground operations. Bob, thank you so much for joining us. You were last in Gaza about a year ago, and now you have your colleagues on the ground. What are they telling you is the top priority right now?
Well, they're telling me that the situation has deteriorated beyond imagination in the last 12 months. They're telling me that they themselves, who are aid workers, who are paid, can no longer find sufficient food for themselves and their families. So you can only imagine the situation for the many hundreds of thousands of people who don't have that income. The situation is desperate and getting worse by the day. 1 in 5 children have been surveyed to be acutely malnourished. That's a very stark data point on its own. But what's worse is that that number has tripled in the last 4 weeks. So the situation we're seeing on the ground is accelerating by the day.
This is a catastrophic humanitarian situation, and the office of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu issued a statement today saying that Israel already, quote, allows significant amounts of humanitarian aid into Gaza every single day, including food, water, and medicine. What is your response to that?
My response is that it's nowhere near enough. Sustaining 2 million people takes a Herculean effort, an effort that the United Nations and NGOs system has proven that it can do. At the moment, we're not allowed to. The aid that's trickling in at the moment is far from being sufficient on any day. But now that we're in the grips of starvation, it needs to be a huge amount being sent in with therapeutic feeding and medicines and food. Unless we do that, we're going to see many, many people die.
Bob, you say that there needs to be, in your words, a huge amount of supplies sent into Gaza. What needs to be done to help more people receive the life-saving food and supplies that they need?
I mean, the answer to that is frustrating because it's so simple. It isn't costly, ineffective airdrops. It's just opening the land borders. That's all that needs to happen. There are thousands, tens of thousands of tons of aid waiting in Jordan, in Egypt, in all of the neighbors ready to surge in. The NGOs on the ground, the United Nations agencies on the ground have staff who are capable and experienced to deliver it. So all that needs to change is that the borders need to be opened. All that needs to be changed is a ceasefire. It needs to be agreed to so we can work, we can receive the aid, and we can save lives that are really at risk right now.
Bob, there are so many people who are watching what's unfolding on the news and on social media, and they want to be able to do something. And I'm curious to know, what is the IRC's recommendation when it comes to doing something, and how quickly does something need to be done in your view?
Yeah, well, what I can tell you is that the point at which the world declares a famine is always too late. In 2011, the famine in East Africa, by the time the famine was declared, 250,000 people had already died. We are seeing a famine right now. We are seeing people die because of extreme hunger. So the timeline question is that it's already too late. We have to get aid in to save lives right now. And in terms of what people can do, there's 2 things. They need to let their congressmen, their leaders know that it's not okay for people to die because of hunger when they're surrounded by food. The second thing that people can do is they can donate. We have some money, we can make a difference. The more money we have, the more lives we can save.
Bob Kitchen telling us that we are seeing a famine right now. Thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it.